So again, my name's Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach by trade. I had some my meetings actually fell through for this afternoon, so it gave me a little extra time to be able to come out here and kind of get a head start on some of my work here. So let me close this off here. I have my chickens that are going to follow me over in this part of the garden if I don't keep them under control. You can see them right there. All right, that one's Honey. Honey follows me everywhere. Thinks I got snacks. But anyways, today just trying to get a head start on some of the stuff I need to get done here. For the fall beds, so I figure I'll take advantage of this. And what we're going to be doing, give you a little tour here in a second, but what we're going to be doing is on the stream here today, I'm going to be taking out all of these radishes, see if there's any. We won't be able to save any of the radishes, and we'll talk about why I had them there. And I've got some other stuff I've just got to kind of take care of over here, pull some carrots out, etc. Which will probably go on the vegetable stand, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well too. So, but yeah, I've got this whole area just kind of needs to be cleared out a little bit. And then work to get ready to get planting with my fall crops, which are going to be brassicas, carrots, things like that. So we'll go over that. So yeah, it's good stuff. For those that don't know, I come live in the garden here pretty consistently throughout the late winter into the spring, etc. Now, most of the time on this channel, it's business stuff, but during certain times of the year, we hop into basically our gardening mode right now, which is where we're at, which is great. We love this. Love that for us. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Just kind of going live. Let me see if I can find a spot where we can have at it here. Let me raise that up a little bit more. Love this new tripod that I got. It's so good. So we are also battling right now all of the smoke and yuck that's coming out of Canada. It's all pouring down here. So on behalf of everyone here, Canada, if you could stop burning, that would be great. So I don't know what you can do about that, honestly, but man, anything would be helpful at this point. So the goal here today is really just gonna be clearing all this out. Like I said, this served its purpose. You know, this is, I think I got a couple beets in here, but most of the stuff is turnips that you can see here. Now the turnips, their job entirely, because you'll see they're pretty gross down here. Their entire job with the turnips was to attract all of the yuck bugs and everything that we didn't want to have. Bring all the slugs over here, all of the critters that we just didn't want around, right? So this was the magnet area for them. So I have 3 rows of turnips. So you can imagine like that stuff. Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. So we've been, as you can see, and I don't know if you guys can see it, we got some slugs on there that are just kind of doing their thing right now. And that's the idea. We want them here. So these guys are all just, and they're really just packed in here. Some of them look pretty good as well. I'm not much of a turnip person, to be quite honest, but that's what they're here for. I feel kind of like on Mario Brothers 2, right? Always pulling up the turnips and doing that thing whenever doing this. But like I said, it's time for them to go because I got to get my next stuff planted. And this is all going to be, these greens are going to be really good for hello, welcome everybody. This is going to be really good for my my chickens as well. They're going to get the greens portion of this. So we're just going to, rather than stacking them there, I'm just going to throw them over, and then we're going to run some of the greens over in a bit. I am going to save the beets. My wife, she likes beets, so we're going to be having those things as well too. So if you haven't been on the stream before, welcome. But this is a large part of what we do here is just cycling stuff through. The big thing is we always want to make sure something's planted in the ground. Now you'll see here as an example, you guys, I got this portion of my garden, but you can see I've got tomatoes all over the place. We've got tomatoes over here. I've got carrots, which are going to be pulling up, checking them, maybe not pulling them up over there. I've got, this section actually has onions as well as tomatoes. I've got summer squash and zucchini there. You can see my corn, obviously. We got beans in there, string beans over there, which we are collecting. I got a random surprise pumpkin patch over there, which is funny. Cucumbers, and you can see all my sunflowers. Check them out. I got that one up there all the way at the tip top. That one's at 13 feet right now. So I'm in Michigan. I'm on the west, kind of show you here, right? I'm here, right in this area right here, West Shore. On the west shore of Michigan, right along Lake Michigan. Zone, I don't know what they changed the zones on me. It's like 7B maybe, because we're technically a subtropical, I think is where they put us. So more stuff you can see where the turnips have done their job. Yeah, the old mitten, you got it. You can see where stuff's got in here, made it rotten and everything, but that's pulling in all the bugs. That's what we want. So they've all been just kind of living over here, a whole collection of them, which is great. But it's also been feeding the soil too. What part of the country are you in? Just curious. And you'll see like some of these guys, you see we had some of them that were much larger, and then these are all planted at the same time, and then you got these little nubs that show up too. So it all just kind of depends. The other part of the thing with this garden, this section of my garden, it does not get a lot of sunlight over here. Like this portion, like right about here, I'd probably say this 20%, give or take, less than that. Central Florida, gotcha. I have my houses right here, and the way the sun comes up, this portion doesn't get much sun until, really until like mid-July, and then all of a sudden it starts getting more. So it's kind of it's a pain, to say the least, to keep it going, to get anything to grow. So that's why I plant these items over here also that don't really require anything too special to get going. But you can hear like they're doing well. Like I said, it's just time for them to go because I got to get my next stuff in, and they did their job. So on a previous post or previous video, maybe I have marigolds, they're around, but I have marigolds that are randomly scattered for the most part. And I have and you can't see them here necessarily. They didn't come up as well this year. They struggled a bit, but I do put marigolds ringing the entire garden, and I have marigolds like in another spot where I have my tomatoes as well too. So I have those, but for the most part, I have the bugs come to one spot and I just let them hang out. And once they find their area, they're usually pretty good. I don't have issues with bugs getting in pretty much anywhere else in my garden. Once they find they got a spot, they tend to do stuff. I don't use pesticides, and like saying, so when in the beginning of the year, before things are up, I have to use like slugs are my biggest problem, to be quite honest, in this area. So I have to have my my little beer traps, basically just little cups with beer in them that they go in and they drown and everything. Yeah, see, up here we don't really have, knock on wood, even with the change in the climate and what, we don't really have those type of issues. What we have is typically it's more of a problem with moisture. Like it just has to do with more, either we're getting inundated with a bunch of rain and water and can't really manage it, or we don't get any rain, which is what we've had this year. I've had to be running my sprinklers basically every other day for a couple months now. They've just been out of control. But like I said, you'll see here, I think this one's a good example. With everything we have, no issues. Even like this one doesn't really have any sort of like slug infestation. The leaves, they've got a little bit where they've been munching at, right? But beyond that, these are perfectly healthy. And I'd put them out on my vegetable stand, but nobody buys turnips. Like I said, they are literally here just so I can have this. They're good compost too. That's the other side of it. I do like turnips, a couple times a year for like a soup, but I'm just not much of a turnip dude. They're easy to grow. They take up a lot of space, which is what I need, as I put my brassicas that I grew this year on the other side of the garden. So, and they all did pretty well for the most part. This is a hobby. I'm actually a business coach and exit planner. I help people get their businesses ready to sell. That's what I do. And then like I said, I had I had meetings today, but they canceled at the last minute. So I was like, well, I guess I can catch up on some of this stuff then. I get a head start, because this was going to have to get done this weekend to get this there. So it's kind of nice to be able to be a little bit front. But yeah, I grew up as a farmer, and my family, a bunch of farmers. So this isn't anything like new or like crazy. But, I like to do this for a hobby for sure. I am monetized on YouTube, amazingly. Somehow I'm monetized. That still cracks me up that happened. So again, hopefully I earn your subscription today. That'd be great. But we go over, we all just kind of get together and talk about different things we're doing for in the garden, but also, like I say, in my greenhouse specifically, like in the end of winter, I'm in there pretty much for a month and a half straight. We're streaming because I'm in my greenhouse, working on things, getting stuff started, transplanting, potting up, all the things that have to happen. You know what I mean? So, well, it's a good time. Lots of deer up here. I actually have, there's deer plicets down as well. It's because we have moles that are in here as well, but the moles don't really bother my stuff too much. They're mostly after the chicken feed than anything. But yeah, lots of deer that we have to have, that's for sure. I don't know, you probably can't see, but this is a wide open area into some forest, into some woods back over here. And we have more deer than, we can kill 20 deer a year in Michigan. Let's put it that way. And especially where I'm at. And we can't keep up. There's that many of them. It has to do with a lot of the population dropping too. The people, not as much hunting going on either. So you can basically kill as many deer as you want and nobody's going to care. Matter of fact, you're going to be applauded the more deer you get. So like we've got a couple, we have a couple deer in the freezer right now as well. So, oh yeah, no, I appreciate you hopping on. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is, like I say, end of the day, the reason I started doing these things live, even just come on and just kind of shoot the shit with people, was, excuse my language, there's in the gardening community, there's obviously the folks that are on top of it and have anything, but they don't necessarily show this portion of the work that goes into this, or everything that goes in it. And I'm like, why not just hang out? So I ran I actually have a Wi-Fi emitter out here I put in specifically so I can be in the garden and chat with people better, because we were losing signal. So yeah, no worries. Glad to have you on here. If you know of anybody else that might enjoy being able to hop on here and learn some stuff, make sure you share. Share for sure. And also, if you know anybody looking to sell their business and wants to get it ready, I'm obviously available for that too. So, all right, so these are my beets, which we're going to look at in a second. I'm going to get all these turnips up first. My wife's going to be ecstatic for all of the for the beets that we do have. So now I did three rows, three rows of radishes here, just because I wanted to have a whole wall, a defensive wall in this area right here, and a spot for them all to hang out in. And it worked out really well. So it's good to have. So that's the other thing too. If you have a garden, you want to keep the soil covered, something in the ground at all times. Make sure you have something in the ground, or if you can't, make sure it's covered. So like right now I'm clearing this off. We're going to come through and, wherever I clear off here, I've got some seeds. We're going to re-rake, kind of get stuff set up a little bit, re-hoe everything. And then I'm going to get some stuff in the ground today, I think. We'll see how it goes. Because I want to get some stuff that we can put in the vegetable stand. I've got a few things out. So I produce way more stuff than I ever going to use. And like this year, I was trying some different breeds of tomatoes and stuff. Didn't work out so well. I'm struggling. I have a few of them are struggling right now. That happens. But I have 70 tomato plants. I'm never going to need that much. It's just me and my wife here. So what I do is this year, the plan was after a couple years where I'm at now to be able to build a vegetable stand and give out extra vegetables and stuff that I give. So everything I make on the stream here, everything I make at the vegetable stand goes back into the seed fund and to take care of this, to give vegetables to my area, because I'm in a pretty depressed area as far as economically in Michigan. So anything I can do to get veggies in front of people, here to do my thing. So let's see here real quick here. With your region is hard to prep for your garden. My sister's in Ohio, and when so there's actually this area right below where you're at, I've got a stretch where it used to be a stream on either side, and there is clay that's running in there. So we have clay in this area. It's just the nature of the beast when we had the ice sheet over the top of us for as long as we did. So we've got clay, but it's just this one section. Other than that, I've got really good soil. But the other piece that I do is I grow particular plants to break up the soil. So for instance, flip over here real quick. We'll go for a little walk. Let's go for a walk, guys. I think I can wait a second. Okay, so come to this side here. I have this part of my garden. You can see where I got all the sunflowers. Like, look at those bad boys. All right, so what I don't want to do, see what we got here, there we go, looking good, is I don't like to till the soil. It's not the same thing. I did it one time when I first got here, but other than that, I try not to. So one of the things that we use these for is to break up the soil. That's what sunflowers are really good at. They got big old, they just make a mess in there, and you cut them off instead of ripping them out, and their roots break down over the next season, and it makes things better. So yeah, thank you. No, the sunflowers are great. They're actually, I use them in my garden. I use them for all sorts of stuff. Like, but I also like here, they make roosts for my chickens. And I use them for support for my peas and stuff like that. So could I make this work full time? No, there's not on my property. I only have, this is only a 25 by 50 garden. There's no way. And in my area, there's just not enough people, people and the type of restaurants that would be looking for my produce to have it. I mean, the stand doesn't make that much money, and frankly, I'm not even worried about making a dime off of it. So, but no, I could make a living off of this. And, working on this, it's hard to make a living on YouTube. You can, but it's not something that I do. Could I find a way to work on it for sure, but it's nothing that at least I wouldn't be able to. So no. That being said, if for some reason everybody all of a sudden starts rolling onto my streams and donating, then maybe possibly, but that's not the case. So, but anyways, that's how I take care of the concrete soil. Use the plants to do it. You can also do like daikon radishes. If you want, they grow about this big down into the soil, and they break, you then lop off the tops and leave them for a season. They rot and go back in the ground, and now you got these big gaps that show up. So when you come through and you rake instead of and you hoe, you've got this whole area that's now set up. So that's one of the things that you can definitely do for sure. All right, same thing. Corn will do that somewhat, but corn is just such a, I don't know, it's not one of my, I grow some corn mainly just so I can have for decoration around the house during the holidays. But corn's one of those ones, it's such a heavy feeder. Same thing with sunflowers, but they're not really useful, corn after a certain amount of time. Yeah, labor of love. I mean, it's also like, you gotta have hobbies too, right? Gotta have something to do. That's kind of where I'm at. So, all right, got all of my little surprise tomatoes that grow everywhere. So I had tomatoes that were here 2 years ago, and I'm still getting tomatoes that are popping up. All right, so let's take a look here. Now on the back here, these should be useless little beets. Yeah, these things are nothing. And this is just to show you, like, they got no sun back over there, so you can see just how tiny these beets are. Versus, I think I might have one or two that are decent sized here. Yeah, I mean, not huge, but you can just see the difference by a couple feet. Right, the amount of sun that even this area gets versus that corner. It's just like a big old dead zone. So they're nice and, yep, good solid and everything. These are good beets. So we're gonna save these. I'm probably gonna can those. See which ones we can save, which ones we can't. Other thing is, I've got 40 cucumber plants and, like, saying 70-ish tomato plants. And of those, tomato plants, I think maybe, 40 of those are going to make it for the long term, the long haul. So I've got way more tomato plants than I'm going to need, but I got to kind of plan that way, especially as I'm figuring out this garden more and more, what needs to grow where and how to do it. So, so I have 6 chickens. That's what we're restricted to in my village. And what I do is, they've got their run. They've got more than enough space for them during the first part of the year when I have things that are kind of getting started over on that side of the garden. I just have them go into my backyard. They can free range it, kind of do their thing. And then once that kind of gets to a certain size. They're really good at clearing out bugs, I can tell you that much. They eat everything. But once my sunflowers get to a certain height and everything's there, and my lettuce and stuff that I typically grow over there has kind of started bolting, they then move into that section and they chomp and clear everything out. But then they've got shade and cover from all of the hawks and the eagles that we have around here, so that I don't have to worry about them getting chomped and taken off somewhere. That's the main thing. That's the reason why I have them kind of how I do. All right, so let's see, we're getting some good beats here. I think it's there. What's that? Oh yeah, no, you're not. Listen, this is, I'm not really working here. We're just kind of hanging out, man. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. We're here to, if I didn't want to chat with people, I wouldn't be on stream, you know what I mean? It's kind of the deal. So, but it's good to see. My wife's going to be really happy about this. All hens. There's no roosters allowed in the village limits. Whoever wrote the ordinance about that, as far as the chicken ordinance was a real jerk about that. That was me. I wrote the ordinance, mainly just because I don't want to deal with the drama with people having roosters and whatnot. You know, they're not. I have a couple folks that are grandfathered in because they've had chickens for a while, and they and their neighbors, I had them basically sign off waivers so that they could have their roosters, just so it won't be as much drama. Them roosting and the trees and eggs falling. That's pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, we're my girls just started laying about I'd say maybe a month ago. So we're starting to get pretty, consistent egg production. We're getting about a dozen eggs a week right now, give or take. All right, I got Corvette guy checking out my vegetable stand over there. Oh, looks like he's coming to get some veggies. So there we go. I don't know if he's necessarily in my key demographic, but we'll go with that. All right, so I can make this one work. Yeah, he could pay full price. Yeah, it basically says everything is free, donations only. Like I said, if he wants to grab stuff, whatever, I don't care. It's just funny to me. And I have somebody, and I think I know who the person is. They sneak over at night and grab vegetables because they don't want to pay. And that's exactly who I'm trying to get that stuff into. Because I think they're just concerned about, they won't go. It's the same person that won't go to the food pantry, which is literally just over here where they can get fresh vegetables, I think, because they're embarrassed. So the fact they can just come over and get stuff is, again, why I'm even doing this thing, to make sure folks can get some stuff. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. So this is the stuff you also end up with here. So as you garden more and more, I think more of you folks will understand this. So this, I know, looking at it, like, what the heck is this thing? So this is actually lettuce. Okay. This is butter lettuce, like a Boston butter lettuce that you get. Was covered, didn't get a lot of sun. Then it got hot and bolted. So it's just this little thing right here, right now, that I just discovered over there. So, but this is what lettuce looks like if you let it grow up. But it didn't get enough sun either, so that's that issue. But again, that's from last year, from when I let it bolt and go to seed, which is what I do with all my stuff. I want things bolting and going to seed for a couple of reasons. One, it just keeps them in the ground. They put out flowers, really pretty. Like depends on the species, but your yellow or purple flowers, some light blue. So that's going to help with the pollinators, right? And it brings them in. They're happy. But also, the longer they're doing that cycle, the longer that the microbes that we want, the healthy bugs in the ground, the longer they get to set up and do their thing. So, and this is part of it. So we're going to show you with this bead here. I'm not going to eat this thing. This one's a little rough, but you can see all of those small little root structures that's there. The reason that it's all sticking together is the roots that come off here, they actually exude glue, like a glue, and help stick to hold everything together, that the microbes all get to hang out and live their best life in here. Right? So as I peel it away, that's why this stuff is sticking. Nice little spots. Now, if I want to pull up some beans here, we can look at some nodules, but you'll see this guy, this one isn't for eating, but you can just see all that area that was right here was just broken up, but it was also an area that was thriving with really good bacteria, the stuff that we want to have, which makes for healthy soil, right? That's good stuff. A lot of those stands popping up. Yeah, I mean, and I know that happens with folks. It's breaking in. That's one of the things with the social contract. I talked about it a lot. Is the fact we've had the so my grandma used to do that, and it's completely fine. You can just do it in the garage, and everything's cool. You can maintain them that way. So yeah, my grandma, she used to sell all sorts of worms and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to who you're saying with people breaking in, again, like I said, that's just the breakdown of the social contract. All right. So who here wants to see carrots when they bolt? So you guys familiar with what this looks like, right? You guys probably seen these around in your garden or your yards or on the side of the road, right? They look like that. Well, this is what happens when you have little itty bitty carrots that bolt. Those, when you see this type of look out in the world, these are wild carrots that you can get. Now look at that. Isn't that crazy how big that is? So, and you get these. It's already bolted, but you can see where it was orange, but it's given up all of its sugars and stuff to make that big stuff. So we have lots of wild carrots, lots of wild garlic, lots of other stuff around here. So let me see. These should be parsnips. I have no idea how these turned out. They're probably pretty crap, if I'm guessing. Yeah. So I grew some parsnips this year. I hate parsnips, but I wanted to grow them just to have them. So yeah, they look exactly like I expected them to, because they were also here just to be snacks, and it provides some cover for my all of my carrots, which are up right now, which are looking interesting to say the least. So all right, anyways, let's get these parsnips. Oh, I'm gonna have to dig these parsnips up. Gonna have to dig them up. I'm gonna go grab my broad fork. Give me 2 seconds. I need that anyways. Well, let's see if I can't take you guys with me, unfortunately, because my thing will mess up. So I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. All right, I'm back, folks. Had to grab a couple things. All right, let me get my mic back on here. All right, so appreciate y'all's patience while I did that. All right, check 1, check 2. Y'all still hear me fine? I think so. Green light's on. So I had to grab my broad fork here. You guys never used one before or seen one before. They're pretty straightforward. They're designed basically just to lift up and break up the soil and loosen it up. They're not designed to turn the soil over, okay? That's not what you want to do. I want to get in here and get these parsnips. So to do that, we're just going to come in. Try to loosen it up a little bit and see what we can get. So let's see. There we go. That's better. Oops, sorry, buddy. Got a bumblebee just kind of hanging out by my face there. So you can see parsnips are doing okay. Again, if you like parsnips, these obviously did not grow very well because I wasn't really worried about growing them. I just wanted to see if as far as getting them started. And, you know, whatever. Maybe the chickens will like them. We'll see. Okay. I have some carrots in here. They're doing, oh, wow. Definitely got some carrots doing their thing in here. Oh, got another radish. Should be on its last leg. So one thing for y'all that, if you haven't seen them before, radishes, when you let them go and they bolt, right, when they go out to start doing their seeds, after they flower, they make these little radish pods. And this is where the seeds are living at. See if I got this one here. I can probably get them out. Grab a couple of them. When you get the pods when they're first out, though, you can eat them. Just like they're pea pods. And they give a nice little, very, very delicate, radishy flavor if you like that stuff. You can see, you know, got my radish seeds in there. If I wanted to let these things go, I could let them go to, you know, go completely and then harvest the seeds and replant them. But, you know, I do also like to buy some seeds simply just so I don't have the same stuff growing year after year. Bring in some different genetics. Oh. Again, I'm not too worried if I end up losing a parsnip or two in the ground because, again, they're there simply just to be harvest or be a spot for bugs to get after. But you can see, it's interesting though, nobody really seems to like the parsnips too much. So the bugs, as far as I'm concerned, they have good taste. They don't like parsnips either. Give this over to the chickens here. Really? Oops, sorry. I'm gonna hit my head there. My throw was a little bit weak, so it did not get to the chickens. All right, so this is my mystery bonus tomato plant here, which is growing. It's a little cherry tomato one. So you can see they're coming along pretty nice here. Again, I'm not worried about harvesting anything a little bit early because, like I said, I got a million billion of these things. It's pretty darn good though. Pretty darn good. Just toss it over there. End up in the compost. Okay, so these tomato plants are going to come up eventually. I just don't know if I'm ready to do it today or not. We'll see. There we go. A little bit bigger parsnip. Not really but again, those that haven't had them, inside of a parsnip looks like they're bleh, bleh. But like I said, they did their job. Everything here did its job. They kept so many bugs over here that I didn't have to worry about them anywhere else. Really surprised by these carrots though. Well, I'm actually really more frustrated than anything is these dang tomato plants that just popped up out of nowhere on me. I don't necessarily want to get rid of them, but I probably will. I gotta clear the space out here. All right, keep on rolling here. Gotta focus. Now, for my neighbors, I gave them. Oh, this guy's coming out. He's in the wrong spot. All right, so let's see. So this was what kind of tomato plant was this one? So this is here you go. Let's get that out of here. So this was this version of tomato was a Campari is what it's called. They get about this big is all they ever get. You can see them at the grocery stores, and they're great, but they are an intermediate or indeterminate size tomato plant. I don't know if you can, we're still going, folks. I guess how long the vines get on this thing. So let's see if I can hold it all the way up. I am 5'9", and this is really these things probably popped up. My guess would be in June. That's how quickly these things grow. This is indeterminate, which means they grow for an indeterminate amount of size. So when you're looking at your tomatoes, that's what you want to be doing. All right, what do we have here? Let's see here. What's the plan for next time's planting? So I try to keep the nightshades I try to keep in one spot and then rotate them around. But once you have nightshades in one area, they just keep coming back. It's like right below you, I have another, which I need to get out of here, but man, they look pretty good. I'm worried about taking them out too soon before I get a chance to harvest a couple. But they grow everywhere. Like, that's the thing. So next thing on the, and honestly, I've got to rework my trellis system. When I put this in, I wasn't sure about my distancing and everything, so I've got to increase my spacing. And they're going to move their area this year. For next year, they've been 2 years in this spot, so they need to move. So with that, the whole trellis system lifts right up. I can just pull it right out and just move it where it's got to go. So it's going to be moving to elsewhere. So yeah, I keep them all together. All right, so next up on the list here, just see it, we're going into our fall, and that's kind of the idea here, is our fall, planning for fall. So we're going to be doing some brassicas, some onions, etc., some lettuce, which I always try to have lettuce going. I'm a little behind right now. So I've got it's backwards for y'all. I know, I apologize. But it's we're doing some broccoli. I just want to grab some burpees on this, nothing too crazy. Some onions, we're going to just kind of have those going wherever. I've got, got some carrots, I got some Danvers, and then 2 packs of the short and sweet. I think those, we'll see how those do as far as, because they're quicker. I'm going to be able to have them out in the stand. Last of the brassicas here are going to be Brussels sprouts. I had a bunch. These do really well in my garden, Brussels sprouts. They get yay tall, and they do really well. And then I've got some 2 different lettuces. I also have some mesclun and some other stuff that we're going to go nuts in. So this like whole section here, where you can kind of see me here, is going to be filled with all that stuff. Like, that's the idea. So yeah, good question. That's kind of what the next plan is. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to get to it today or not. We'll see how I feel after kind of clearing a little bit more of the out of here. Because like I said, I got to get, some of these guys got to go. Like these Romas, I hate to pull them out of here, but they got to go. Like, or sorry, these are San Marzanos. They got a whole bunch of these growing. You see so San Marzanos, the big difference on them is the chamber is the other direction. It's like on Romas, they go this way. San Marzanos, they go this way. So instead of this direction, they go this way. But you see, this is another one that is just a monster plant that I did not plant, but it's leftovers from last year. You know, taking up space that is fine, but we're going to be planting, so it's got to go. Got to go, folks. But look at the taproot on that. Look at that thing. My goodness, it's a beast. And with and I didn't even count these in like the number of tomato plants, so I might be upwards, including all of the surprise tomatoes and everything I have. I mean, I could be north of like 90 tomato plants in here, because they're everywhere. All right, let's get this guy out of here. But again, this is all just good stuff for compost too, which is great. Which is also fantastic, which we're good with. Oh my goodness, look at you guys. Another one that's just kind of there. Oh man, I hate to get rid of this guy, but here we go. Got to go. Because those ones are always just good to have for salads. But like I said, I have so many tomatoes. This is not going to hurt the cause any. Plus, it's going to help with airflow in this area too. You know, I mean, this was really bogging everything down, having, you know, every tomato plant known to man growing here. Okay, so let's see what we're left with here. Got a bunch of little carrots, it looks like. Look at these little guys. Look at those little guys. Aren't they adorable? Bunch of little carrots. So let's try to thin some of these out here. See if I can get some that can actually grow to a decent size by thinning them out. So that's the thing. This is about the height, FYI, where you want to thin your carrots out. Let them grow, let them get big, because really, at this point, they're only this big, right? They ain't hurting nobody. So just get them in there, then come through and thin them out where you can. And nature will take care of the rest. That guy will be fine there. Other stuff that I have growing over there, which is enjoy, which is pretty cool. I've got my oregano here. Bring some over to you guys. I'll clear this off a little bit. Is it? Oh yeah. So my oregano plant. So I have tons of oregano growing, and right now it's flowering. You guys can see that or not? Yeah. So cute little flowers in there, looking all cute. So it's good. But you can see oregano doing its thing. But oregano will spread everywhere. It's kind of like very similar to mint. If you give it an inch, it'll take your whole yard, which is great. But I already have like a year's worth of oregano stored up, dried, and in the cabinet. So like my need for oregano is kind of low. But I've got it growing in a couple spots just to be on the safe side in case I ever need it. All right, so we're gonna let this guy go because these are heirlooms. See if I can sneak a couple heirloom tomatoes out of the harvest this year that I didn't plant but showed up. What in the world? All right, so one of my red onions it was ready. I mean, it was just there, so that's cool. Probably gonna eat that tonight. Add that to the list to munch on. That'd be great. There's that. And then just so you guys can see, I got some of my other tomatoes that I have, the ones that I actually planted. They're starting to blush up and get ready to go nicely here. So these are all looking good. Pretty excited about that. Yeah, so we're cruising along here pretty good today, folks. So the carrots, what do I want to do with my carrots? That's the thing. I think these guys are about as thinned out as they're going to get before I have to do any other damage, which is fine. So the reason I'm keeping the carrots is not because I'm necessarily going to eat this little nub. That makes really good pesto. So I'll probably make up some pesto tonight with that. That'll be good. Oh, and then this one here. This is one I think all of you may appreciate on this. All right, so who here is familiar with lamb's quarters? You guys know what that is? If you don't, it's this plant right here. This grows wild all over the place. What the leaves look like. When they're younger, they're really, really tender and stuff. But it's a good salad green. You can literally let this thing just go, and you can pick all this goodness off and have it and toss it in. Same thing with dandelions. Just toss those bad boys right in your salad. They're not the main event, to put it, I guess, in that sort of phrase. Like, these are not the main event type of things. They're good to have. It's just like with your stuff phrase I want to say here. With dandelions, right? They shouldn't be the main thing that you have, but they definitely can play along. And just a last bit here before I close up shop for today are my celery. It's growing in, and these are from seed I started earlier in the year. Just kind of have them out here doing their thing, and they are coming along nicely. Yep, that's gonna do. That's gonna do just fine. Add that to the pesto. So I got a bunch of that growing here. So all right, so I got this basically cleared out today. That's really what I wanted to get done today. I don't think I'm gonna plant. Not feeling it. I got a couple emails came through while we've been talking here. I got to get back and answer. So, all right. Well, listen, everybody, I appreciate it. It's we got a lot done today. I know it doesn't necessarily look like it, but we got a lot done today. So I appreciate it. Hopefully everybody had a good time. Hopefully I earned your subscription today. Be sure to subscribe and put your notifications on so you'll know when I'm coming live here in the garden. Also, don't be surprised if I start showing up on your feed for my business videos. I do more business videos than I do of being here in the garden, but hopefully you like that content as well too. All right, take care. See you guys next time.